dancing, 'cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Oh, there's something about your love. Something about your love changes everything in my body. Oh, something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Oh, I got my camera a little off here. Nice to see you. It's a beautiful morning, right? Sun's out, I think, almost out, and it's good to be Friday. How does it get better than that? Today we're on Psalm 97. It's a chance to look at another one of the beautiful prayers that are written in the book. It's nice. It's great, and it's short, so we should be really easy to go. But let's check first who's here. Ken Gooch is here. Good morning, fellow brothers in arms. Chris Conley's here. And Steve Bonawerski. That's all that have commented so far. Now, it shows us having 5 people. So I got a feeling some people are going to come on in a second or two. But we'll get started without him. Oh, there he is. Look at that. As soon as I mentioned we were going to miss. All right. Bert Reggiani's here. Good morning, Bert. Psalm 97. It is a beautiful little tribute to God, I guess would be a good way of saying it. He talks about how everything is under his dominion. But we should know that already, right? That's why the Psalms are here to repeatedly praise the glory of God. It's kind of cool. Anyway, let's see if I can pull that up without too much drama. All right. It's funny how to make you guys read it, I can't read it. The Lord reigns, let the earth rejoice. Let the many coastlands be glad. Clouds and thick darkness are all around him. Righteousness and justice are the foundations of his throne. Fire goes before him and burns up his adversaries all around. His lightnings light up the world. The earth sees and trembles. The mountains melt like wax before the Lord of all the earth. The heavens proclaim his righteousness, And all the people see his glory. All the worshippers of images are put to shame, who make their boast in worthless idols. Worship him, all you gods. Zion hears and is glad, and the daughters of Judah rejoice because of your judgments, O Lord. For you, O Lord, are most high over all the earth. You are exalted up far above all gods. It's twice now you mentioned idols and all gods. This little first section of this really talks about the greatness of God. It talks about fire going before him, and it burns up his adversaries. His lightning lights up the world. The earth sees and trembles, and the mountains melt like wax. We look at God as being a loving father, but we also have to look at him as powerful and strong. And these verses here really bring that about. They point out just how powerful God is. And then it goes on in verse 10 to say, you, O you who love the Lord, hate evil. He preserves the lives of his saints. He delivers them from the hand of the wicked. Light is sown for the righteous, and joy for the upright in heart. Rejoice in the Lord, O you righteous, and give thanks to his holy name. Okay. So, we should hate evil. And he preserves the lives of his saints. What does he mean by that? What preserves the light of his saints? Lives of his saints. Does that mean we live forever? No. We might live forever in his kingdom. It means light is sown. What does it mean for light to be sown for the righteous? Is it so we can see? Or is he talking about the light of the world? And then it says, earlier in this book chapter, he talks about rejecting idols. And then he talks about gods plural. And it was right after talking about rejecting idols. And I think the time they were in, that false gods were common, idols were common in the other cultures. And he's basically saying they're all below him. We should rejoice and give thanks. To me, the way it ends is he talks about how powerful this is and what can happen and how we should live. And then he talks about how powerful. And then he says, oh, we should rejoice in that. We should. As the church, we should live our lives in this manner, right? This is kind of what they're saying. We have to understand who God is. And then we need to know that everything is under God's control. Everything. And then we should live a life worthy of God. And we should rejoice in it. And I think to myself, do we do that? Do we really understand who God is? Do we understand just how powerful he is? We look at the Pharisees. Look at the Pharisees. This is a good example of people that they live perfect lives. They followed the law so much that they even created laws to explain the laws that, it says do not do work on the Sabbath. Well, they created all the rules. They created a bunch of rules about what it meant not to work on the Sabbath. They wrote rules on everything. It was 500 and some laws, explaining laws or defining laws. They thoroughly knew, they thought anyway, that they understood the heart of God. God wanted them to follow his rules, his laws that he put down. And the only way you could get to heaven, the only way you could see God is by following them explicitly. And when you fell, something was sacrificed. Yet Jesus looked at him and said, what was it? These people honor me with their lips, and their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain. Their rules are merely human rules. He even went on later to say that they were blind guides, whitewashed tombs. So, with this verse in mind, knowing how powerful God is, how could they have gotten it so wrong? How could they have looked at God and said, this is what God wants? I truly believe their hearts were focused on the right thing, but they were missing it. God is all powerful. He's got dominion over everything. So what about God makes people feel that all he really wants is us to follow rules? And to me, they were the blind guides is the perfect description for them, because they just didn't see what they were doing. They just couldn't see. They couldn't see the hypocrisy of tying burdens onto the people that they, in living very comfortable lives, living very well off, while their people starved and while widows were being put out of the street and their property taken. They lived strictly by the law. There was no grace. There was no mercy. There was no true justice, I think would be the good word for it. Maybe, I don't know. But I think they are the perfect warning flag for us, a cautionary rule. We look at what it means to, and we see it in some of the other faiths and Christian faiths where they talk about sinful behavior and sinful lives, and you have to look this way, you have to dress this way, you have to act this way, and they forget about feeding the widows and children, and they forget about clothing the naked and visiting those in jail. We can't get caught up in the rules until we understand who God is, until we can't understand, we can't really truly understand God until we can truly understand grace, I think. And that's where our focus should be on. A lot of times we can have grace with our fellow man. We can love our neighbor. We can teach each other. We can live with each other, but we have to remember that living a life worthy of God means more than just following the rules. And you can follow all the rules and have an awful heart, and we have to remember that. So that's what I have for you today, guys. I hope it was a blessing. Enjoy this. This has been a good day. Nobody else came on. Nobody else talked. Still got 5, so we're good to go. Have a firmly rooted day, gentlemen, and may someone see Jesus in you today. I think I'm done.